Welcome back to Trois-Rivières, Quebec in round 9 of the 2008 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series on TSN. The number 4 of Don Thompson Jr. all over the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick, and around into the lead goes the Home Hardware Chevy.
Well, Don Thompson deep into the braking zone. You see the back end of that car wiggling and waggling, but he got the job done.
And Thompson comes into this one 96 points back of Steckley. He needs those all-important 5 bonus points for leading a lap. He won't get them this time, not looking like it anyways. J.R. Fitzpatrick regains the lead. Here's Tagliani underneath the 9 of Mark Dilley.
Well, Tagliani sailed it down in there, got it stopped on the inside, and he took the spot away from Mark Dilley.
The tow truck in a box number 22 of Scott Steckley looming there as well. Looked like he was going to try and duck underneath the 9 of Mark Dilley. Now to the outside goes the 22, taking a look. But still is the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick at the top of the field. Really the top 6 now, all single file.
Boy, you'd think some team orders would be in play here. Don Thompson Jr. only being 96 points back could really use that 5 points. But if we gave away bonus points for the pole, he would be even with Scott Steckley in the season's end points.
Coming out of that corner, Alex Tagliani got so very close to that outside wall, but he managed to keep it on course as they work lap traffic now. The 67 of David Thorndike just in front of your leader as we ride on board with JR.
What a great camera shot. You get JR up through the gearbox. We have new transmissions now that are clutchless.
And trouble for the 60 team of Ron Beauchamp Jr. As we've had reports from the pits, that motor is cutting in and out. You see Ron Beauchamp Sr. putting the coat and the helmet on. He's going over the wall to look under the hood. That's never a good thing.
No, never a good sign when the chief engine builder has to put the uniform on to go have a look at his piece.
So back to the front of the field, the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick leading his teammate Don Thompson Jr., Alex Tagliani. Ahead of the 9 car, Mark Dilley, and then your points leader, the 22 of Scott Steckley, rounds out the top 5. As far as points go, Steckley sitting in that 5th position. Of course, Don Thompson Jr. in 2nd. DJ Kennington is way down in 17th spot. And then Andrew Ranger comes into this race 4th in the points, 6th on the racetrack right now.
Whoa, Kerry Mix around backwards again.
More trouble for the BDI 02. Kerry Mix, we'll take another look at it.
Oh, he got just hot into that corner. The 19 of Brad Graham didn't know he was there, and he run over the back of the car and spun into the tire wall.
Big bodywork damage to the full throttle energy drink Dodge of Brad Graham. Didn't appear as though the 02 of Mix hit the wall very hard, so not sure if there's too much damage on that 02 car as we hit 34 laps to go here in the GP3R 100.
I was beginning to admire that new paint job on that Ford Fusion, but maybe Kerry thinks it's a jinx and wants to get the other paint job for the next race.
So Mix is back out on track, still trying to gain positions. He started on the outside of the front row, now has touched the wall twice here in Trois-Rivières, and that's really not something we've grown to expect from the 02 of Kerry Mix.
Well, Kerry's a very aggressive and energetic driver, but we just don't see this many mistakes out of Kerry Mix. Very unusual.
On board with the Montreal winner, Andrew Ranger. Great helmet design. You can see the very colorful helmets of him and Alex Tagliani as the 02 Kerry Mix comes down pit lane, a flat right front tire.
Well, that'll put him down at least 1 lap by the time they get that tire changed and back on the racetrack.
Well, there the leaders go by right now, so Kerry Mix is officially down 1 lap here in the GP3R 100. So trouble for your outside pole sitter. As those troubles continue, we ride on board with J.R. Fitzpatrick now as he ducks underneath Port Duplessis. He's your leader here at Trois-Rivières. From the streets of Trois-Rivières, Quebec, you're watching the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series presented by Sirius Satellite Radio. The number 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick has led every single lap as we work lap 11 here of 42. A huge crowd in attendance enjoying this race.
Well, the home crowd favorites running 3rd right now, and Tagliani would love to win this one. Given his teammate won in Montreal, he's got one under his belt in the home province, and Tag wants this one.
And Scott Steckley in the 22 ducks underneath the 9 of Mark Dilley into Stadium corner number 1, as Andrew Ranger in the 27 closes the gap on the 9.
Well, Ranger's doing a really good job, Dave. You know, you got to remember they had very little practice. He got the wheel hop in the car, and it broke the upper link out of it, so he had to scramble to get that thing ready.
Saw how loose he got out of that corner as he heads down this huge back straightaway into corner number 6. You can see all the cars lined up single file. J.R. Fitzpatrick leading the field as he got a quick shot from the Duplicolor wall cam.
What a great shot. Tag sitting in his office there. You heard him downshift on the brakes, on the power, or he's working the wheel, turning left. What a great shot.
Billy, a street course so much different than the wide open runways that we run at Edmonton, Mosport road course. How difficult is it to try and anticipate what's coming around those corners with the walls on both sides?
Well, it's what we've called these the concrete jungle. You miss an apex here, you're in the fence. You go to the runways at Edmonton, you miss the apex, you can miss it by 300 feet and still be fast. But right here, you miss it by a foot and you're junk.
One of the drivers having trouble, the Allied Steel Buildings Dodge Avengers, Derek Lynch. He's in the pits.
77 car of Derek Lynch along pit road. Crew going to work to first get the right side up in the air. It's not a tire problem, it's the rear end. We've seen clutch difficulties along the way so far this weekend, guys. When that car is shut off, Derek Lynch will be here a while.
Well, Derek Lynch, one of our most consistent racers we have in this series, but he's had a lot of trouble this weekend. They broke a clutch in practice. Not a great outing this weekend.
Yeah, too bad to see. Whoa, we got trouble on the 29 Mohawk Internet Technologies. Pierre Bourque, smoke coming from the exhaust pipes on that car. You can see the official going over with the fire extinguisher, and the motor is shut off. This isn't good.
Oh, we got a good look there on board, and there you can hear making some funny noises. It's out of power, not running really well. I believe that's a motor problem.
And that's where the smoke starts on the 29 of Pierre Bourque, so he'll park it, done for the day. On board now with the Ubisoft Walmart Ford Fusion of Alex Tagliani. Working up through the gears. And taking a look on the 4 of Don Thompson Jr. as the cars work around the 22nd place car, the 42 of Peter Kloot. There's Andre Coursol in the 5 as well, just ahead.
Tagliani was hard on the power on exit there, had that car turned right out sideways, trying to get up underneath the 4.
Well, Peter Kloot in the 42 doing a great job getting out of the way of the leaders all the way off the race course there, but now here comes Tagliani to the inside of the 4 of Don Thompson Jr. They touch. Now they're hooked together.
He's still hard on the gas, trying to get away from the 4. I seen that coming. Tagliani got a great run through the high side, kept the momentum, and got down the inside. Don Thompson turned in like he should, and Tag got into him and drove over top.
Heavy damage to both race cars. Tagliani stalled. And there goes Don Thompson Jr. dragging a front fender as the caution flag flies for the first time here in the GP3R 100, a full course caution. And we're going to take another look at this one.
See, there's Tag. That's the great run to the outside, carries the momentum, chops over to the inside, but it's too late. Don Thompson's already in the braking zone, heading for the inside apex. Tagliani blindsides him and drives right over top of him.
Right into the driver's door and then jumps over that right front tire as Andre Coursol comes down pit lane. Dave Connolly in the 82 also stopped down pit lane, and here comes the 4 of Don Thompson Jr.
Home Hardware Chevy makes its way along pit road. Sandy Hamilton, the crew chief, trying to get that hood open. They'll check the brake fluid. That's something that Thompson mentioned on the radio. They're checking, of course, for suspension damage as well on the Home Hardware Chevy. The J.R. Fitzpatrick 84 team also helping out this championship effort.
Well, this is big picture racing, Dave. The whole crew's going to jump on this thing because JR, he's not in the points hunt, but this young fella is.
96 points behind the 22 of Scott Steckley coming in. He'll go down a lap. His teammate J.R. Fitzpatrick continues to lead.